Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're going to be looking at secure browsing. Specifically, we're going to be taking a look at Brave browser.
Yeah.
So is it really as secure as everybody says? And what are the trade-offs of switching over to something like Brave?
Well, it's an important question, and it's a deep dive that I think is especially relevant for you as IT professionals and business decision makers out there.
Right.
We're going to try to unpack today some of the implications of Brave's approach to data security and think a little bit about what that might mean in the context of your work.
And a big thanks to Stonefly for supporting this deep dive.
Yeah.
Stonefly is all about helping businesses like yours keep their data safe, and their solutions dovetail really well with what we're talking about today.
Absolutely. Just like Stonefly, Brave understands that data is gold, and how you choose to protect that data can really make or break your business.
Okay, so let's sort of unpack this. Like, why is there so much buzz around browsers and data privacy these days? It just seems like everybody's suddenly super worried about what happens to their information online. Why now?
Well, think about it. I mean, how much do we rely on browsers for everything?
Right,
Every single day, we're entering sensitive information.
right.
Passwords, financial details, personal messages. We're doing it all through our browsers. And, let's be honest, the mainstream browsers haven't always prioritized our privacy, right?
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So how is Brave sort of trying to do things differently? Like their website, claims to be all about privacy and security,
Yeah.
but how do they actually deliver on that promise?
Well, Brave was founded by Brendan Eich.
Oh, okay.
And, as you know, he's the guy who co-founded Mozilla Firefox. So he comes with a lot of experience in this space.
Right.
His vision was to create a browser that was fast, efficient, and truly put the user's privacy first. And to do that, they built Brave on a foundation of open source software.
Okay, so for those of us who aren't, developers or really in the weeds with this, what does open source actually mean in practical terms? And why does it matter for security?
So open source basically means that the code behind the browser is publicly available
Oh, wow.
for anyone to see, anyone to scrutinize, anyone to contribute to. And this transparency, I think, is a huge advantage for security because it means you literally have a global community of developers who are constantly checking for vulnerabilities, looking for problems, and working to fix them.
So it's like having thousands of eyes, like looking out for potential problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this approach is also how Brave addresses the issue of trust. You can see the code for yourself.
Right.
You don't have to just take their word for it when they say, oh, yeah, we're not collecting your data.
Right.
You can actually verify that for yourself.
That's a good point. Yeah, it really eliminates that whole black box problem, right,
Yes.
that we kind of see with some of the other browsers.
Yeah.
Speaking of eliminating things, Brave also claims to block like a ton of ads and trackers. Is that true? And if so, wouldn't that negatively impact the websites that you're visiting?
So Brave is definitely very aggressive about blocking trackers and ads by default.
Right.
And they argue that this actually improves your browsing experience because it speeds up page load times and reduces distractions. And for websites that do rely on advertising revenue, Brave has a unique approach called Brave Rewards.
Right. I've heard of that. It's like, you're getting paid to see ads.
Sort of?
Can you explain how that works?
Yeah.
And why it even matters in the first place?
Essentially, Brave Rewards allows users to opt in to see what they call privacy-respecting ads.
Okay.
And for each ad you see, you earn a small amount of cryptocurrency called BT,
Oh, interesting.
Basic Attention Token.
ET.
Yeah, you can choose to keep the BT, or you can choose to donate it to the content creators of the websites you visit.
Oh, interesting. So it's like almost a micropayment system
Exactly.
that cuts out the middleman and gives users more control over their data and how their attention is valued online, right?
That's the idea.
Wow, okay. But that sort of brings up another interesting point. Isn't Brave kind of competing with solutions like Stonefly by managing this data storage on their own?
Well, not really. Brave's focus is really on securing your browsing experience. While a company like Stonefly, they offer really robust data protection solutions for businesses.
Okay.
Things like backups, disaster recovery, archiving. Think of it like this. Brave protects you while you're out on the road,
Okay.
and Stonefly makes sure that your home base is secure.
I like that.
It's kind of two sides of the same coin
Right.
and work really well together.
That's a great analogy. So we've kind of established that, Brave is really focused on privacy and security.
Yeah.
But does that mean it's only for like tech-savvy users? Like, what about everyday people who just want to browse the web without worrying about their data being, out there for everyone to see?
Well, one of Brave's biggest strengths is that it's designed to be incredibly user-friendly. You really don't need to be a tech expert to install and use it. They've done a great job of making privacy and security accessible for everyone.
Okay.
You can just get started with the default settings and have a significantly more private browsing experience than you would with most other browsers.
So it's like getting the benefit of like a security system
Exactly.
without actually having to install it yourself.
Right.
You just kind of flip a switch and you're protected. But does it work on all my devices? Like my phone, my laptop, my work computer, all that?
That's the great thing about Brave is that it's available across multiple platforms. You can get it for Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Android, iOS.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So you can have that consistent browsing experience.
So I can switch between my phone and my laptop
Exactly.
and still have the same level of, privacy and security.
That's awesome. Okay, but how does it stack up against the browsers that come pre-installed on those devices, right?
Sure.
Like,
Yeah.
Safari on a Mac. Is there any difference there?
That's a great question, and I think it really comes down to your priorities.
Native browsers like Safari can sometimes have a slight performance advantage, but they often lack the privacy features that Brave offers.
Okay, so it's a trade-off. Do you want absolute fastest speeds, or do you want more control over your data and a browsing experience that's less cluttered with ads and trackers?
Right.
Speaking of mobile devices, are there any limitations to the mobile versions of Brave?
So while the mobile versions of Brave do offer the same core privacy and security features as the desktop versions,
Okay.
there are a few differences.
Oh.
Most notably, the Brave Rewards program isn't currently available on mobile.
That is interesting. Why wouldn't they offer that feature on mobile?
Yeah, it's probably because of the complexities of the mobile ecosystem
Right.
and how hard it is to balance, privacy with the need for monetization on those platforms.
Yeah.
It's a complex issue.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, so let's get into like the nitty-gritty now
Sure.
of Brave's security features. What specifically does it do to keep my data safe?
So Brave has a pretty robust suite of security features, all designed to protect you from various online threats.
Okay.
This includes things like cookie and script blocking, comprehensive browsing history clearing, and even a built-in password manager.
Hold on. A built-in password manager. Isn't that a bit risky? Like trusting a browser with all my passwords?
That's a valid concern.
Yeah.
And while Brave's password manager does use encryption to protect your data, you should consider your own comfort level with this approach.
Okay.
Dedicated password managers often offer more robust security protocols,
Oh, okay.
cross-platform syncing, and they can generate strong passwords for you.
So for someone like me who manages a lot of passwords for work, a dedicated password manager is probably a better bet.
Or probably, yeah.
But for someone who just wants basic protection and ease of use, Brave's built-in option could be a good starting point.
Exactly.
It's all about finding that balance
Right.
between, security and convenience for your own needs.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brave blocks trackers. It has a built-in password manager. It has this, unique rewards program.
Right.
But doesn't it still display ads? How does that work with its privacy focus?
Well, that's a common misconception.
Okay.
While Brave does display ads, they take a fundamentally different approach than other browsers.
Okay.
They use what's called a revenue sharing model, where 15% of the ad revenue generated goes directly back to the user.
Whoa, so you actually get paid to see ads on Brave.
Essentially, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But what about those ads that slip through the cracks,
Sure.
Are there any vulnerabilities we should be aware of?
Well, like any software, Brave isn't perfect.
Right.
There's always the potential for vulnerabilities to exist.
Sure.
However, because it's open source, security researchers and developers are constantly working to identify and patch any vulnerabilities.
So it's like a constant game of cat and mouse between the good guys and the bad guys. But with Brave's open source model, it feels like the good guys have a much bigger team on their side.
That's a good way to put it. And, it's not just about the code itself.
Right.
Brave also incorporates features like HTTPS everywhere,
Right.
which automatically upgrades your connection to the more secure HTTPS protocol whenever possible,
Right.
which is super important when you're using public Wi-Fi.
Oh, that's right, public Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, notoriously risky. Speaking of risk, I know that some really security-conscious users, they rely on VPNs, virtual private networks, to encrypt their internet traffic.
Right.
How does Brave interact with VPNs? Like, are they compatible? Can I use them together?
Absolutely. Using a VPN in conjunction with Brave is a great way to add an extra layer of security to your browsing experience.
Oh, okay.
A VPN, like the ones offered by Stonefly, creates a secure tunnel for your internet traffic,
Okay.
making it much harder for anyone to snoop on your activity even when you're on public Wi-Fi.
So it's like having a bodyguard for your data, even when you're browsing on a public network.
Right.
And that complements Brave's existing security features really well.
Exactly. It's about creating a multi-layered defense strategy for your data,
Right.
both at the browser level and at the network level.
Awesome. Now, I've heard some people talking about whitelisting in the context of Brave. What is that? And is it something we should be concerned about?
So whitelisting is essentially the process of allowing certain websites to bypass Brave's security features.
Okay.
And this is sometimes necessary because some websites rely on very specific cookies or scripts to function properly.
Right.
However, that can create a security loophole.
Right. So if I whitelist a website, does that mean I'm opening myself up to potential risks?
It's a valid concern.
Yeah.
Whitelisting should really be done sparingly
Okay.
and only for websites that you absolutely trust.
Got it.
It's about finding that balance between functionality and security.
So it's like having a security guard at the door, but sometimes you need to give certain people a pass to get in. You just have to be careful about who you give that pass to.
Exactly.
Okay, this is all super helpful information. So far, it sounds like Brave is a pretty solid choice for, anyone who's concerned about online privacy and security.
Yeah.
But is it perfect? Are there any downsides or limitations we should be aware of?
Well, no browser is perfect, and Brave does have its limitations.
Okay.
One potential downside is compatibility.
Okay.
While Brave is based on Chromium, the same foundation as Google Chrome, it's not always perfectly compatible with every website.
Okay.
You might occasionally encounter issues with sites that are specifically designed for other browsers.
So it's always a good idea to have a backup browser on hand just in case.
Exactly. Another consideration is the learning curve. While Brave's interface is designed to be user-friendly, there are some advanced features and settings that might take some time to get used to. But for most users, the default settings will provide a significant boost in privacy and security without requiring any special knowledge or configuration.
So it's kind of like buying a new car. You can just get in and drive it, but if you want to really explore all the features and customize it to your liking, you might need to spend some time reading the manual.
Yeah.
And just like with a car, it's important to make sure you're driving Brave safely and securely.
What do you mean by that?
Well, even with the best security tools, human behavior is still a huge factor in online safety.
Right.
No matter how secure your browser is, if you're clicking on phishing links or using weak passwords, you're still vulnerable.
Right. It's like having a top-of-the-line security system in your house, but leaving the door unlocked.
Well,
So it's really a combination of the right tools and smart online habits.
exactly. It's about being proactive and taking responsibility for your own online security.
Right. And that includes things like choosing strong passwords, being cautious about the links you click on, and being aware of the information you're sharing online.
So it's not just about installing a new browser and calling it a day.
Right.
It's about changing your mindset,
Exactly.
developing these good online hygiene habits.
Exactly. And that's something we can all benefit from,
Right.
regardless of what browser we use or what security tools we have at our disposal.
Okay, all this talk about online safety is making me feel a little vulnerable, right?
Sure.
Like, what can we do to take control of our data and actually protect ourselves from these threats?
That's a great question. And the answer is multifaceted. First, it's important to be aware of the risks involved.
Okay,
Understand how your data can be collected, used, and potentially misused.
so knowledge is power.
Absolutely. The more you know about the threats you face, the better equipped you'll be to protect yourself. Second, choose the right tools for the job.
Like a secure browser or a VPN.
Exactly. And don't forget about data backup solutions. This is where a company like Stonefly comes in.
Right.
They offer a range of robust solutions that can help protect your valuable data from loss or corruption.
That's right. Data backups are like an insurance policy for your digital life. You hope you never need it, but you're really glad you have it when something goes wrong.
Exactly. And finally, remember that security is an ongoing process. It's not a one-time event.
Right.
Stay up to date on the latest threats and vulnerabilities. Keep your software updated and be wary of suspicious emails or links.
So it's a combination of being informed, using the right tools, and developing those good online habits we talked about.
Absolutely. And remember, you don't have to do it alone. There are countless resources available online and within your own organizations.
Right.
Reach out to IT professionals, security experts, and even your fellow users.
We're all in this together.
Mhm.
Okay, this has been a really insightful deep dive into the world of secure browsing, but there's still so much more to explore.
Yeah.
Let's take a quick.
Welcome back, everyone. We were just discussing the importance of having that multi-layered approach to data security, right? Combining those secure browsing habits with robust data protection solutions.
Right, because even the most secure browser in the world can't protect you from every single threat out there. So you really need that comprehensive strategy that covers all the bases.
Absolutely, and that's where a company like Stonefly really comes in. Their solutions are specifically designed to help businesses of all sizes safeguard their data from a wide range of threats.
Now, we talked earlier about how Brave is based on Chromium, the same open source project that Google Chrome uses. So how does Brave actually manage to be more privacy focused than Chrome if they're kind of using the same foundation?
That's a great question. While both browsers do share that underlying technology, Brave has gone to great lengths to strip away a lot of the data collecting and tracking features that are just baked into Chrome.
Okay.
They essentially took Chromium and they streamlined it, focusing on speed, efficiency, and user privacy.
So it's kind of like taking a really powerful engine and putting it in a lighter, more agile car. You get the performance, but without all the unnecessary baggage.
Exactly. And in addition to removing those tracking features, Brave also adds in its own security enhancements, like the aggressive blocking of third-party cookies and trackers that we discussed earlier.
And let's not forget HTTPS everywhere,
Wow.
which automatically upgrades your connection to that more secure HTTPS protocol whenever possible.
Right.
That's a huge win for security, especially when you're on public Wi-Fi, which, as we know, is often less secure.
Absolutely. Using HTTPS ensures that the data you send and receive is encrypted, making it much harder for hackers to intercept and steal your information. It's like sending a letter in a sealed envelope rather than on a postcard for everyone to see.
That's a great analogy. It really makes it clear why that's so important. We also talked about Brave's built-in password manager. For someone like me who manages tons of passwords, is that a safe and reliable option, or should I stick with a dedicated password manager?
That's another great question. And while Brave's password manager is certainly convenient and does offer basic protection, dedicated password managers like the ones offered by Stonefly often provide a higher level of security and functionality.
Okay.
They typically use more robust encryption algorithms,
Right.
and they offer features like two-factor authentication, password strength analysis, and the ability to securely share passwords with others.
So for those of us who are really, really serious about password security, a dedicated password manager is probably a better bet.
I would say so, yeah. It's certainly something to strongly consider. And even if you do decide to use Brave's built-in password manager, it's still really important to practice good password hygiene in general.
Right.
Use strong, unique passwords for each of your accounts and avoid reusing the same password across multiple websites.
Right, because if one of those websites gets hacked and you've used the same password elsewhere, the hackers can potentially access all your other accounts. That's a
Yeah.
scary thought.
It is. And that's why a good password manager can be such a valuable tool. It can help you generate those strong, unique passwords and store them securely so you don't have to remember them all.
So it's like having a digital vault for all your most sensitive information. Speaking of vaults, let's talk about data backups. We kind of touched on this earlier, but why are data backups so important, especially for businesses?
Data backups are absolutely essential for any business, really, because they protect you from the unexpected. Hardware failures, natural disasters, human error, even cyber attacks, all of these things can result in data loss. And without a proper backup strategy in place, that data could be gone forever.
And that sounds like a total nightmare scenario, especially for a business. Losing important customer data or financial records could be devastating.
It could be the end of the business in some cases. And that's why having a solid data backup plan is so crucial. It's like having an insurance policy for your data, right?
Yeah.
You hope you never have to use it, but if you do, you'll be incredibly grateful that you have it.
So what does a good data backup strategy even look like? Like, what are some key things businesses should be considering?
First and foremost, regularity is key.
Okay.
You need to back up your data on a regular basis, whether that's daily, weekly, or even more frequently, depending on how much data you generate and how critical that data is to your business.
And don't put all your eggs in one basket, right?
Exactly. You want to think about using a combination of on-site backups, offsite backups, and even cloud-based backups.
Okay.
This ensures that even if one backup is lost or compromised, you still have others to fall back on.
So it's about diversification and redundancy. You want to make sure your data is as protected as possible.
Exactly. And this is where a company like Stonefly can be so valuable. They offer a wide range of data backup and recovery solutions tailored to the needs of businesses of all sizes.
So for our listeners out there who are responsible for data protection in their organizations, Stonefly can help them develop a robust data backup strategy that meets their specific needs and their budget.
Absolutely. And they can also help with things like disaster recovery planning, ensuring that you can get your business back up and running quickly if the worst should happen.
That's great. That's really reassuring to know. Okay, we've talked a lot about the technical aspects of data security, but let's not forget about the human element. Even with the best technology in place, careless employees can still create security vulnerabilities.
Oh, that's absolutely true. And that's why employee training and awareness are so important. You need to make sure that everyone in your organization understands the importance of data security and knows how to follow best practices to protect sensitive information.
So it's not just about having the right tools, it's about creating a culture of security within your organization.
Exactly. And that starts with education and awareness. Make sure your employees understand the risks involved and how their actions can impact the security of your data.
Right, okay, this is all great information. We've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, but I'm kind of curious to hear your overall final thoughts on Brave. Where does it fit in this broader landscape of online privacy and security?
Overall, I think Brave is a really compelling option for anyone who's truly concerned about their online privacy and security.
Okay.
They've taken a pretty unique approach to browser development, prioritizing user privacy and control while still delivering a fast and efficient browsing experience.
So would you recommend Brave to our listeners?
I would certainly encourage them to give it a try. It's free to download and use,
Right.
and it offers a significantly more private browsing experience than most other mainstream browsers.
And if they're looking for more comprehensive data protection solutions for their businesses, they can always turn to a company like Stonefly.
Absolutely. Stonefly has a really long track record of providing robust and reliable data protection solutions to businesses of all sizes.
Awesome. Well, this has been a really informative deep dive. Thanks so much for sharing your expertise with us.
It's been my pleasure.
Now let's move on to part 3 of our deep dive, where we'll wrap things up with some key takeaways and actionable advice for our listeners. Welcome back to our deep dive into the world of secure browsing. I feel like we've explored a lot of ground here.
We have.
From the rise of these privacy concerns to the unique features of Brave browser, and even touched on those, really robust data protection solutions like the ones that are offered by Stonefly.
Yeah, absolutely. We've really tried to give you a good 360-degree view of what the current landscape looks like so that you can go out there and make really informed decisions about protecting your data and your organization's data.
Exactly, and I think that's really the point here, right? We want you to feel empowered. Now, for those of you who might be joining us mid-dive, can you give us that quick recap of what makes Brave stand out from the crowd?
Well, at its core, Brave is built on this idea of prioritizing user privacy without sacrificing speed or functionality. As we talked about before, it's based on that open source Chromium project, but it strips away a lot of the unnecessary data collection and the tracking features that are baked into Chrome.
So it's like a leaner, meaner version of Chrome, specifically designed to protect your privacy.
Exactly.
Oh.
And on top of that, they've added a bunch of other cool features like HTTPS Everywhere, which automatically upgrades your connection to that more secure HTTPS protocol, and of course the Brave Rewards program, which allows users to opt in to seeing those privacy-respecting ads, and they can even earn cryptocurrency for their attention.
Right, and that's really what flips the script on the traditional online advertising models.
Right.
But let's be honest here, no browser is perfect, right?
Right.
What are some things that, even when using a privacy-focused browser like Brave, what are some things that users should kind of keep in mind?
That's a really great point. Even with a more secure browser like Brave, it's important to remember that security is a shared responsibility.
Okay,
You still need to practice good online hygiene,
right.
choosing strong, unique passwords, being careful about the links you click on, and being aware of those phishing attempts.
So it's not just about the technology, it's about being smart,
Right.
being proactive about your behavior online.
Absolutely. And for businesses, it's also about creating that culture of security within your organization, educating employees about the importance of data protection, and implementing policies to help mitigate those risks.
And that's really where solutions like the ones offered by Stonefly can really make a difference.
Absolutely. Stonefly specializes in providing businesses with these comprehensive data protection solutions, that include backups, disaster recovery, archiving. All of that expertise that they bring can help you develop a really robust strategy to safeguard your data from a wide range of threats.
So it's like having a whole team of security experts on your side to kind of help you navigate this incredibly complex world of data protection.
Exactly.
Awesome. So for our listeners who are out there thinking about, maybe I should make the switch to Brave, what are some key takeaways that they should really keep in mind?
Well, first and foremost, Brave is a great option if you're really looking for a browser that puts your privacy first without sacrificing that speed or functionality.
And it's free to download and use, which is huge.
Absolutely. And while it might take you a little bit of time to get used to some of the unique features, the learning curve is relatively gentle, and the benefits in terms of privacy and security are significant.
Yeah, but even with a secure browser like Brave, it's still important to remember that no single tool is going to guarantee your complete security, Ryan. You still need to be vigilant and practice those good online habits that we talked about.
Absolutely. And for businesses, it's really crucial to have that comprehensive data protection strategy in place, which might include solutions like the ones that Stonefly offers
Right.
to make sure that your data is safe and recoverable.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one piece of advice you would give to our listeners out there?
Well, stay informed, stay proactive, and don't be afraid to ask for help. There are countless resources available to help you navigate this ever-evolving world of online security, and together we can all create a safer, more secure digital environment for everyone.
Well said. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the world of secure browsing and data protection. We hope you all found this information valuable and empowering. And until next time, stay safe, stay secure, and keep exploring.